Hey there, I'm Mr. Gattuso. This is the Digital Media Lab. Hi everybody, I'm Mr. Gattuso, and this is the Digital Media Lab, and this is where we run keyboarding and digital media, advanced digital media, and a yearbook. Before we get started, a few things that every class has in common I'd like to get out of the way. The first, don't buy anything. We normally use Photoshop in here, and that's an expensive program, but I do not expect you to buy it. Instead, we're going to use a program that's online. It works through the browser. It's called Photop, and I'll put a link down here somewhere that shows how to get to anywhere I mentioned, so you'll know where to go. So don't worry if you didn't get that. But it's totally free, and it does most of the things that we need it to do our projects in Photoshop. So don't buy Photoshop. If you're in the keyboarding class, you need to have an actual keyboard for that, but don't buy that. If you don't have one, use one of the school Chromebooks, that's fine. If you are in digital media, advanced digital media, yearbook, or even keyboarding, and you need to take pictures, don't buy that. Use whatever you have. If you have a cell phone, or you have the webcam on your computer, whatever you have will make it work. This class does not cost you money. Okay, good with that? Cool. I always tell my classes that there's no homework and there are no tests. And that's normally pretty much true. I mean, we have tests, but those tests are not like sit down and abstract, do a thing. It's an actual practical project. So your test is how well you do your work. As for the homework, I really did try to avoid having you to have to do anything outside of the school. You can normally, and when you do, some great things can happen, but every class could do their stuff at school. Unfortunately, everything's homework right now. But we're going to still kind of keep it light. Well, not light, you still have work to do, but we're going to keep it so it stays inside the normal hours that you are in this class. So you can take more time. And if you do, you might get something else done that you couldn't do during class, but you'll be able to do it. You don't need to. Okay. Classes, keyboarding. We'll start with that one. Keyboarding, we do projects and we do typing. We do our typing on a website called typing.com, typing.com even. And when we're on it, it's really important that students are logged in with their school account, that one that ends with @stu.burbankusd.org. If they're not logged in, then I can't see it. They won't get credit. It's really easy to log in. There's a button at the top that says student login, and then you just use the Google sign in and put in your school account information, and it works. It's great. So make sure you do that. We'll also do projects in there. Some of the same projects we do in digital media. In digital media and advanced digital media, we do a lot in, Photop this year, and we're going to do anything from taking pictures to editing things together, animation. We're going to do movies. We're going to do some programming probably. There's a website we use called Scratch, and the reason we use it is because it's free, and I like free. So we'll be doing that. And then Advanced Digital Media always does movies. We normally do a show that goes out to the school, and my hope is that we can manage to do some sort of a show that can go out to the general public. Sort of like a Saturday Night Live, only it'd be like Friday afternoon taped or something. And then there's the yearbook. Oh boy, the yearbook. This is going to be a challenge this year because normally the yearbook is full of sports, and it's full of dress-up days where there's costumes and things, and everybody's on campus, and it's full of dances, and it's full of student pictures. And right now, we don't have any of that. So it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to fill in. But one thing I've always known about my students is they're smart, they're clever. They'll come up with stuff, and they'll make things that people want to see. So those are the classes we're going to have. One of the things about my classes is I give assignments. And in the past, I've been really lenient about late work. You could turn in late work all the way up until my grades are due, and they're not due till the end of the semester. You might have a bad grade all the way up till then, but before that, but after that, not before that, but after that, when the actual final grade comes out, you'd be fine. So you could in the past. This year, there's a lot more paperwork going on and a lot more weirdness and a lot easier to get lost in the shuffle. So I will expect kids to turn in their work on time. With that being said, of course, there are going to be times when you're late. And when that happens, let me know ahead of time if you can, and I'll be more lenient. And if it doesn't happen that often, it won't be a big deal. If it's consistent, then I'll have to have a talk with parents. Same thing with absences and tardies. This is a weird year. It's a weird year. And there are going to be times when the technology doesn't work. Yesterday, it didn't work here on campus, and I had a very difficult time connecting. I know that's going to happen to many of my students during this semester. So if it does, let me know. Let me know as soon as you can what happened. And look on the website, look on the Google Classroom, and see what work you missed and what needs to be done. I'm doing a thing called a flipped classroom this year. And what a flipped classroom is instead of the instruction happening live with me in the class and the kids going home and doing the homework, I'm recording the lessons, and I'm leaving them so students can do them on their own time at their own pace. And then when we come into class, we look at their work and we deal with the problems they have. Seems like a great way to deal with our huge time crunch that we're having with this, or weirdness of when we're here. So if you miss, you can still see the lesson. It'll still be up there. You'll be able to do it. So don't worry about that. Just make sure you do it. And let me know if you're going to be out. Absences, same thing. I know that there'll be times when you can't be here, but I do expect you to be here on time and stay for the entire time. Give or take a few technical glitches. So be here when the bell when the bell would have rung, if there were bells, and stay until I dismiss you. Some people worry about the camera being on them that whole time. I know I get uncomfortable with it. I'm uncomfortable right now and only talking about 6 minutes or 7 minutes so far. And I don't want to put that on students. So when you're in my class, I don't need to have the camera on. Don't need to see it. I do need to know you're there, though. So students will have to be in the chat room and commenting, relevant comments, please. They could be answering questions. They could be, if I ask a thumbs up, thumbs down, they could write thumbs up, thumbs down, something like that. But I need to know you're actually participating. And one more thing, and that is, you'll notice this video is on YouTube. I'm going to use YouTube a lot this year. This Mr. Gattuso channel is going to be where all of the lessons go, and it's going to be, if I have any kind of video thing I need to put up, it's going to go here. And that means my students need to be able to get to YouTube. So if you're a parent, please make sure that during my classroom time, at least, your student has the ability to check out YouTube, because they're going to need it. If you need to contact me, the best way is email. Email means I'll see it for sure. If you try calling me through the school, a lot of times I don't notice the little flashing light, and some days I'm not even going to be on campus. So, so that's not going to work very well. Use email, and I'll get to you. Now, if you do want to have an actual conversation or a Zoom call or a meet or something, that's totally fine. We can do that as well. But start with an email and we'll set it up. And that way I'll be able to get to you and we won't get lost. All right. Guys, it's going to be a kooky year. It's going to be nutty. I hope we end up back on campus before the end of this semester. Certainly by next semester, I hope it happens. But whatever happens, wherever we end up, we're going to have a good year. We're going to have fun, and we're going to make things. Oh, I almost forgot the most important things. 2 things I forgot. Holy cow. First is, I want all of my students to fail. And that may sound like a joke, and it kind of is because I phrase it that way. But what I mean is, we're going to be trying things in here. Especially this year. We're going to be trying so many strange and weird things this year. They're not all going to work. And that's okay. That's even good. Because when things don't work, then you figure out a new solution to them. So I do want your kids to fail, but only if they realize that failure is just a step toward something new and better and learning. I don't want them to just give up or never succeed, but I do want them to have problems and setbacks and failures, and then successes and advancements. And on a side note that kind of relates to that, I give really strict, really detailed, specific instructions on how to do projects. And if you follow my instructions to the letter, you'll be able to make whatever I make. But one of my favorite things is when kids don't follow them. Now, I don't mean that they just give up or they just don't do anything, but I mean sometimes I'll have a suggestion for how to do a project, and a student will do it in a different way. They'll use a different program, or they'll have a whole different idea for how something should look or act or move or be, and they will make something original and clever and creative and awesome. Some of the very best projects I get from my students are the ones that I did not assign to them. The ones that I end up stealing from them and teaching to the rest of the class, or having them teach to the rest of the class. It's magical. It's wonderful. It's my favorite thing. So, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to try things. Don't be afraid to be weird. This class, we're going to be weird. And this year's going to be weird. Everything's going to be weird. And that's awesome. All right. Let's have a great year.